Welcome to the Football Observer. Today we have 5 talking points about the end of match day 1 of the Euro 2020 tournament. Italy are back and could go all the way. Italy have returned to international tournament football after missing out on the 2018 World Cup. Heading into this tournament, they have not lost for 28 games, the last loss being against Portugal, a 1-0, in September 2018. Many had picked Italy as their dark horses to win the tournament. But after their convincing 3-0 victory over Turkey, I think they have what it takes to go all the way and actually win the whole thing. Italy controlled this game from start to finish, with Turkey defending deep and having to resort to breaking on the counter. However, the Italians were composed and managed the tempo of the game really well by passing and switching play, trying to work the ball into the wings for a cross or cutting it back for shots outside the box. Turkey were able to stay compact and hold Italy off, but they had just kept getting pushed deeper and deeper into their defensive third, never really having a chance to attack. Eventually, in the second half, Italy were able to break them down and score from a Turkey own goal. From there, Turkey lost their composure and began to make mistakes, from which the Italians made sure to punish them for it. What I took from this match were how well organized and well drilled Italy are. They were able to pass out from the back, cut through midfield with quick, intricate passing, switching play from wing to wing, and with well-timed runs in behind, they were able to stretch Turkey, and Turkey were struggling to cope with them. If you had changed their kits, you'd think it was a club side who had been playing with each other for years. Mancini has done such a great job with this Italy program, and with him as manager, I can see this Italy team going deep into the tournament. I had Italy as my dark horse to win the tournament, and so far they've shown the potential to win it. However, I would like to see them face off against stiffer opposition, for example their next match against Switzerland, to see the true mettle of this Italian side and see if they can turn that dark horse label into a trophy contender. Christian Eriksen deserved more dignity. Finland went on to win this match 1-0, but the biggest story here is what happened to Christian Eriksen. For those who don't know, Christian Eriksen collapsed at the end of the first half after a throw-in. The quick reactions of the referee Anthony Taylor, the Danish players, and the medical staff saved Eriksen's life. It's great to see that there are procedures in place in football to prepare staff for all kinds of crises. However, the way that it was shown on television needs to be talked about. The producer or director of the international live feed needs to be held accountable for the pictures that we saw. Millions all over the world saw Christian Eriksen collapse on the floor, fighting for his life. They made the conscious decision to show those scenes of Eriksen laying down on the ground, even at one point having the overhead camera on top of him. What was more egregious was when the Danish players formed the wall in front of Eriksen and the medical staff to shield him from the cameras. But even then, they decided to zoom in through the legs of the players to show Eriksen receiving CPR and even at one point having his heart shocked by a defibrillator. A man fighting for his life was broadcasted all over the world. Furthermore, to add to it, they decided it would be a wise decision to show his girlfriend on the sidelines as she's crying, wondering whether her boyfriend is still alive or dead. Hopefully this incident leads to procedures being implemented for future crises whenever this happens again. Is it coming home? England defeated Croatia 1-0 in a rematch of the World Cup semi-final in 2018. England started the game with high energy, closing the ball down high up the pitch, and put long balls in behind Croatia for Sterling, Mount, and Foden to run into. The strong start rattled Croatia in the first 20 minutes as they struggled to get out of their own half. However, as the game progressed and the adrenaline wore off, and the heat taking its toll, Croatia grew into the game. Modric dropped deeper to help Croatia progress the ball up the pitch and pass their way through the England midfield. In the second half, it was the directness of England's attack which broke the deadlock. Sterling scored inside the box after Phillips made a run through midfield and laid it off to him. After going up 1-0, England put in a mature performance that managed the game and limited Croatia to crosses outside the box. They were able to pack the midfield and see out the game even when Croatia's midfield started to find their rhythm. By the end, Croatia seemed fatigued and couldn't really threaten England. This England team looks more cohesive and more mature than the England team of last World Cup. They have strength and depth, which helps to their advantage in playing many different styles against different opponents. Case in point, Trippier, a right back, was playing left back, even though England had 2 really good left backs in their squad. I'm pretty sure Southgate will shuffle the starting 11 versus Scotland, and we'll see England approach the game very differently. How will Southgate line up against Scotland? Will he shuffle it and go with a more attacking setup, putting in Grealish for Foden? Or will he set up the same way? Let me know in the comments below. Do not write off Hungary. When the draw for the group stages were announced, Hungary found themselves in Group F, the so-called Group of Death. In this group were four-time World Cup winner Germany, reigning World Cup winner France, and reigning European Cup winner Portugal. Many were quick to write off Hungary's chances and cast them as the whipping boys of the group. But after their stymied and fierce performance against Portugal, I think we may see an upset, with one of the so-called powerhouses failing to qualify for the later stages of the tournament. It was a brilliant tactical battle, a high-tempo game with tenacious physical defending, and at times end-to-end attacking intent. In my opinion, this is so far the best game of match day 1. Portugal's plan was to play with a high tempo, trying to pass and shift the Hungarian defensive block and tire them, but the Hungary team were able to match Portugal's intensity. Hungary set up in a 5-3-2 formation, dropping deep, staying compact, and frustrating Portugal with organized, resolute defending. With Portugal having possession, as long as they had men behind the ball, or have them go down the wing for crosses that were easily dealt with in the box. Hungary balanced this directness in their counterattacks whenever they won back possession. They would wait for Portugal to enter their defensive third before they start to close in numbers. When Hungary won possession, they would break on the counter, with the front two forwards combining and linking up to get a shot on target from distance, or to hold up play and wait for support from midfield and get chances from crosses into Portugal's box. In fact, they had a goal chalked off in the 79th minute for being offside of the slightest margins. In the end, Portugal scored on a fortuitous deflection the 84th minute, from which then the Hungarians lost their momentum, deflating them, and they began to commit errors which led to the two ensuing Portugal goals. The 3-0 scoreline flattered Portugal as the Hungarians were minutes away from deservedly earning a point in the match. If Hungary can show the same energy and commitment in defending and work on finishing their chances, I think they may be able to frustrate and upset France or Germany and earn enough points to make it out of the group stages by finishing third. Do you think Hungary can upset France or Germany and make it out of the group stages? Or do you think they'll finish last? Let me know in the comments below. France on cruise control. The first clash of heavyweight footballing nations ended in a 1-0 victory for France over Germany. This was the first clash of heavyweight footballing nations in a tournament, saving the best for last. France entered as tournament favorites, and Germany entered as the national program in transition after their disastrous exit in the 2018 World Cup group stage. France's first 11 further added to its world-class roster as Benzema started after being out of the national team setup for 6 years. Germany, on the other hand, although being a team in transition, still had enough quality in the lineup to put up a decent fight against France. The first minutes of the game started off cagey, but soon the French got their passing game going, switching play to Mbappe, who looked a threat all game. Germany, however, was sloppy with their passing and slow to close down French players when they won back possession, allowing France to play balls in behind the German defensive lines. And because France are an elite team, they soon punished Germany for their slow start. From a Germany throw-in, France won back possession in Germany's half and were able to switch it out wide to Hernandez for a cross into the box, which then resulted in a Hummel's own goal. Germany were better in the second half as their passing improved and Havertz was finding pockets of space between the France midfield and back four. However, Germany's end product was not good enough. The final ball in, where there was a cross or a pass, wasn't good enough and didn't create enough clear-cut chances for them to take. France looked composed and in control of the game from start to finish. They were able to defend as a unit and not be fazed when out of possession, just quietly working hard to win the ball back and to break on the counter. It says something about this team when an elite player such as Griezmann is hustling back to close down German players and to win back the ball as fast as possible. The midfield dynamism of Pogba and Kanté will be one of the things to look out for throughout this tournament. Kanté played his usual game of breaking up play, intercepting and winning possession back, while Pogba was free to be the deep-lying playmaker, spraying balls and switching play when needed. It was actually his passes that linked up with Mbappe that created France's best chances in the second half. Speaking of Mbappe, what a player France has. He was a standout player in the last World Cup. Will he be the standout player again this tournament? If it weren't for it being offside. The goal he scored when he cut in would have been an immediate goal of the tournament contender. He and Benzema pose a serious threat as France are perfectly comfortable to soak up pressure. And once they win back possession, they can transition with an outlet to Mbappe running in behind defenses. Terrifying for any team who comes up against it. In conclusion, they made a decent Germany team look very average without even having to get out of second gear. Is there a team in this tournament that can go toe-to-toe with France right now? In my opinion, there's no one right now. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me in this Match Day 1 recap. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. See you next time.